Have you ever wondered how often seniors should masturbate to stay healthy? It can be a little hard to say, but for seniors, it's more important than many people think. You see, we talk a lot about diet, walking, and medication, but we rarely talk about one of the most natural aspects of being human, masturbation. For many people over 60, especially those who live alone or no longer have a partner, masturbation is more than just a physical act. It's a way to stay connected to your body, manage stress, improve sleep, and even maintain important health markers that doctors don't always mention. That's why in today's video, we're going to gently and respectfully explore the truth behind masturbation after 60. We'll talk about 5 key reasons why masturbation may be more important than you think, how often is considered healthy, and why it deserves thoughtful consideration, not shame or embarrassment. So if you're over 60, or in love with someone who is over 60, and you've ever quietly wondered if it's okay to touch yourself occasionally, this video will not only answer that question, but it may completely change the way you think about aging. Let's get started. First, hormonal balance. As we age, one of the biggest changes we face is our hormones. For men, testosterone begins to decline, sometimes slowly, sometimes more quickly. For women, estrogen declines after menopause. These changes affect more than just energy and mood. They impact sleep, immune function, muscle strength, and even how much we enjoy life. This is where things get interesting. Regular sexual activity, including masturbation, has been shown in numerous studies to support hormonal stability even in old age. When a person orgasms, the body releases a cocktail of hormones, including dopamine, oxytocin, and in men, a short-term increase in testosterone. While this increase may only be temporary, the cumulative effect of regular release may help maintain a healthier hormonal cycle overall. For women, the release of oxytocin and the associated estrogen effects may help alleviate some of the more unpleasant symptoms of aging, including vaginal dryness, insomnia, and mood swings. This is not speculation. Doctors in both urology and geriatrics are increasingly seeing how regular sexual activity improves blood tests, emotional health, and even bone density. Yet, due to outdated beliefs or cultural taboos, many older adults avoid sex altogether, believing it to be shameful or only for young people. But I want to challenge that. Taking care of your body involves managing your hormones. And just as you might take a walk to lower your blood pressure or drink water to stay hydrated, a little self-love every now and then can help maintain better hormonal health. I once knew a gentleman named Harold, a 78-year-old widower who lived alone in Ohio. He was the epitome of polite, restrained behavior, the kind of guy who never talked about his personal life. But one day, over coffee, he admitted that he had struggled with insomnia and stress for years. After reading a health article encouraging older adults to adopt healthy behaviors, he gave it a try. Within weeks, his sleep improved. His blood pressure dropped. He smiled more. It's not about desire, he says. It's about connection, about knowing that your body is still working. And he told me, I wish someone had told me 10 years ago that it was okay. No schedule is right for everyone, but for hormonal health, even once or twice a week can make a noticeable difference. It's not about frequency, it's about intention. When done carefully and mindfully, it becomes an act of wellness, not a secret to hide. So if you're wondering where to start by removing the guilt. Your body isn't broken or dirty. It's human. And even now, your hormones deserve a little support. Second, cardiovascular health. When you think about cardiovascular health, masturbation probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. But maybe it should be. Most people associate heart health with diet, exercise, and medication. But they often overlook one of the body's most natural ways to get the blood pumping, sexual activity, even if it's just masturbation. Masturbation increases your heart rate, improves circulation, and mimics the effects of light aerobic exercise, especially in older adults whose physical activity may have been limited by joint pain or energy levels. Let's break this down a bit. When you're aroused, your blood vessels dilate and your heart starts beating faster. That movement helps keep your arteries flexible, pushes blood into smaller vessels that might not otherwise get as much work, and can even reduce plaque buildup when done regularly. While it's no substitute for walking or strength training, it does help with the same goals. To keep your vascular system vibrant, responsive, and efficient, one of the biggest risks as we age is stasis. Both physically and emotionally, sitting too long, thinking the same thoughts, repeating the same old habits. But regular masturbation gently disrupts that. It causes a temporary rise in blood pressure, followed by a relaxation response that helps your blood vessels maintain elasticity. And perhaps more importantly, it teaches your body that pleasure is still possible, that there are still movements and responses in places you might have missed. I once had a woman named Carol. She was 72, a retired teacher, living with her cat in a quiet little town in Oregon. For years, she had struggled with cold hands and feet and a general feeling of fatigue. Despite eating healthily and walking daily, her doctor ruled out any serious illness. It's about vitality. It nourishes every inch of your body, reminding your system that you're still here, still worthy of pleasure and movement. If you're still watching this video and found this information helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue to create great content that informs and inspires you. Now, let's move on. Third, emotional regulation. One of the most overlooked benefits of masturbation in adulthood is how deeply it supports emotional balance. We often talk about hormone levels, blood circulation, and even tone, but how does it affect your mood? At a time in life when many people feel lonely, anxious, or disconnected, something as personal and simple as solo pleasure can actually act as a powerful emotional stabilizer. When you orgasm, your body releases a wave of feel-good chemicals: dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, and oxytocin. These aren't just fleeting mood boosters. They play a key role in reducing anxiety, improving sleep, boosting optimism, and even boosting emotional resilience. In a world that constantly tells seniors to slow down or calm down, these physiologically satisfying moments remind you that you can still access joy, spontaneity, and comfort, all from within your own body. There's also something powerful about having a routine that's all your own. In an age when many seniors feel their independence is waning, whether it's due to illness, financial worries, or even the simple challenge of keeping up with modern technology, having an experience where you don't need permission, don't need explanation, and don't need anyone else can help you emotionally stabilize. It becomes a ritual of self-renewal, a moment when body and mind come together and are reminded that peace is possible. I remember George, a widower in his 80s. He told me that after his wife died, the days seemed to fade. Meals became bland. Music no longer stirred him as it once did. But then he read an article suggesting that solo pleasure could improve mood in the elderly. He was skeptical, even ashamed. But then one evening he allowed himself to explore that space again, not out of desire, but out of a yearning to feel human. He recounted the tears that followed, not out of shame, but out of relief. It was the first time in months that his body felt connected to something real. Not to a memory, but to the present. That's the key. Emotional regulation is not just about calming down. It's about coming back. Coming back to your senses, coming back to your breath, coming back to a whole version of yourself. And for many older people, masturbation can be one of the most gentle ways, the most personal ways to come back to that place. It doesn't require a therapist. It doesn't require a conversation, just time and space and a willingness to feel. So, while some people may scoff or feel embarrassed about talking about it, the truth is that our mental health is just as important in our 70s as it was in our 20s, even more so, because we've been through so much. And that means we deserve every tool that helps us feel safe, soothed, and understood. And this can be one of them. Fourth, immune support. It may come as a surprise, but masturbation plays a subtle but significant role in boosting your immune system, especially as we age. Most people don't associate sex, especially solo sex, with immune function. But science suggests otherwise. In fact, the physiological changes that occur during and after orgasm can directly boost your body's ability to fight off disease. Let's break it down. When you masturbate and orgasm, your body initiates a mini stress-relieving cycle. Your heart rate increases, your circulation improves, and your body releases a surge of cortisol, the stress hormone. But here's the kicker. That temporary increase is followed by a sharp drop, leaving you with lower stress levels than before. And when your stress goes down, your immune system gets a chance to get a boost. Chronic stress, especially the kind that builds up silently in older adults who may feel isolated or overwhelmed, is known to be an enemy of the immune system. It suppresses the activity of white blood cells and leaves your body more susceptible to infection and disease. By reducing stress, the pleasure of masturbation opens the door for your natural defense system to work more effectively. Several studies have shown that people who engage in regular sex, including masturbation, produce higher levels of immunoglobulin A. This is an important antibody found in saliva and mucous membranes that serves as the body's first line of defense against pathogens. It may sound like a technical detail, but it means your body is better equipped to prevent colds, flu, and even more serious infections before they start. Consider Linda, a 73-year-old woman who had struggled for years with chronic sinusitis and seasonal allergies. Her doctor prescribed medication, but the effects were temporary. At a group wellness session, someone brought up the role of self-pleasure in immunity. Linda was skeptical but open-minded. She decided to incorporate it into her evening routine, not out of obligation, but out of curiosity. Over the next year, she noticed fewer flare-ups, better sleep, and a marked improvement in her resistance to colds. Coincidence? Maybe. But when she mentioned it to her doctor, even her chief physician acknowledged that the physiological connection was plausible. It's easy to dismiss the link between pleasure and immunity, especially in a culture that tends to view aging bodies as frail or inactive. But the truth is, your body never stops responding to care. And that includes forms of pleasurable self-care. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a video. Your support helps us continue to create content that is helpful, informative, and inspiring. Now, let's move on. Number 5, strengthen your pelvic floor. When most people think about ways to stay healthy after 60, they think of walking, light weights, or maybe stretching. But what if one of the best exercises for your midsection and lower body isn't even in the gym? Masturbation, especially orgasm, actively engages and strengthens the pelvic floor muscles, an important group of muscles that support the bladder, bowel, and even sexual function. The pelvic floor acts like a hammock at the base of the abdomen. As we age, these muscles can weaken, leading to problems like urinary incontinence, uterine prolapse, and decreased sexual sensitivity. Many older adults are advised to do Kegel exercises to maintain strength in this area. But what is often overlooked is that sexual activity, including masturbation, can also engage these muscles, often more naturally and more pleasurably. During orgasm, your pelvic floor contracts rhythmically, just like during Kegeling. These contractions stimulate blood flow, increase muscle tone, and promote responsiveness. The more often this happens, the stronger these muscles become over time. And the benefits extend far beyond the bedroom. Consider how many older adults have difficulty controlling their bladder. A weak pelvic floor can make sneezing, laughing, or even standing up quickly dangerous. But strengthening these muscles reduces leakage and improves bladder control, bringing a sense of freedom and confidence that is often taken for granted in youth. Take Robert, for example. At 78, he was experiencing mild leakage when getting up from a chair or after a long walk. His doctor recommended pelvic floor therapy, and part of that plan included encouraging regular, pleasurable sexual activity. Robert, who has been a widow for more than a decade, had never considered masturbation as a health strategy. But he tried it slowly and respectfully. Over time, his control improved, and so did his outlook. He says it wasn't just a physical improvement. It was reconnecting with a part of himself he thought had been forgotten. For women, the story is equally powerful. Strengthening the pelvic floor improves vaginal tone, helps prevent uterine prolapse, and supports healthy blood flow throughout the entire pelvic region. These changes not only improve physical comfort, but also affect confidence, posture, and even the way you walk and behave. And here's another thing to consider. When you strengthen one part of your body, especially a core part like your pelvic floor, it often has a ripple effect. Stronger muscles lead to better balance, which reduces the risk of falls. Improved circulation means healthier tissues and faster recovery from minor injuries or strains. This support is exactly what the aging body needs. However, it often comes from the most neglected places. It's important to remember that these muscles, like all muscles, respond best to regular use. Just as skipping leg exercises weakens your legs, neglecting your pelvic floor leads to muscle atrophy and dysfunction. Masturbation is a non-invasive, inexpensive, and completely private way to maintain that part of your body at your own will, time, and comfort. So when we ask how often masturbation is considered healthy, it's not about a strict schedule or a specific number. The point is to listen to your body, recognize its signals, and stimulate it to stay healthy. The pelvic floor is the foundation, and taking care of it, even through pleasure, is an act of strength, not indulgence. Final thoughts. So here's the truth. Aging doesn't mean you have to lose touch with your body. In fact, now more than ever, staying connected to your body can literally be one of the most powerful ways to protect your health, your spirit, and your sense of self. We've spent this video explaining how masturbation, when done with care and intention, supports everything from hormonal balance and circulation to emotional peace and pelvic strength. But hidden beneath all the science is something even more important, the silent message that your body still matters, that you still matter. There is no shame in seeking comfort, connection, or release through something so natural and human. In fact, choosing to care for yourself in this way, privately, gently, on your own terms, is one of the most noble things you can do. It's not about how often you do it. It's about allowing yourself to do it. The right to feel, the right to heal, the right to remember that aging doesn't mean being quiet, still, or closed off. It means listening more deeply, honoring your needs, and finding new ways to grow. So whether you're 65 or 85, partnered or single, curious or cautious, know this. Your body is not a relic of the past. It's alive, it's capable, it deserves attention. And if self-satisfaction is part of what keeps you grounded, alive, and fulfilled, then you're doing nothing wrong. You're doing something incredibly right. Thanks for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it to your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.